What's going on, Reef Builders? I'm Jake Adams coming back to you from the studio. Today we are talking about the fish tank and doing some major upgrades. So just to refresh your memory, this is about a 120 gallon, 128 gallon rimless tank from ProClear Aquatic Systems. I have a handful of fancy fish in here, including my pair of tinker eye butterfly fish, tiger angel, and the line spot triggerfish, as well as a lot of mollies to keep them company. And as you might be able to see from the glass, it's a little green, so it's time for a water change. But I've been wanting to time the water change with this major project. So I've really enjoyed the ProClear Aquatic Systems tank, especially the stand itself, because this is actually the bottom of the tank and it matches up perfectly with this stand. Now everything you see is actually just a face for the metal frame stand underneath right here, and this particular system comes with its sump of its own. And this is a really big sump, right? So this is a 6-foot tank and it comes with a 48-inch sump that takes up a good 2/3 of the underside of this tank. So for this video, we're going to be swapping out that tank. But in order to do that, I have to take out one of the braces and drop the water level before I do that so I can take out the brace. And that's the only thing that's gonna let me get the sump out of here. So before we change this all to new equipment underneath, let me show you how I've been running the fish system, okay? So this is a 4-foot sump right here. We've got the water coming in here and the water going out over there. So for the most part, we have this first submerged chamber, which holds the heater. Then there's 6 filter socks, on top of which I've added some mechanical filter pads to extend their life. And then right in the center here is kind of the workhorse of this particular system. This is the Deluwa Great White 10 protein skimmer. And what I've really enjoyed about this skimmer is I've been basically wet skimming it. And that's going to come in important when we upgrade to the new Octo Sump. And you can see I get a lot of skimmate here, right? Because these are some thick and dirty fish. I feed them very rich food. I feed them a lot, give them lots of water changes. So some regular dry protein skimming is not going to be enough. So right after the GW10, I've got kind of a biological chamber here with these export bio bricks from channel sponsor Brightwell. And in this last kind of dirty section right here, I've got the return pump, CJ Syncra 7.0, as well as a Senai monitor for temperature and a few different elements. And here is the float valve, which is not hooked up because I have this tank completely covered, so it really just doesn't evaporate very much. So this is a lot of space to take up for just a few different functions. Now let me show you what we're going to be upgrading to. So all of the equipment underneath the fish aquarium stand is going to be replaced by a triple threat of fun aquarium gear from Octopus. Now this video is really going to be focusing on the sump, but we need some things to power it first. So for the return, we're going to be using the Vario S8 water pump. This is capable of up to 10,000 liters of water per hour. That's just a little bit over 2,500 gallons per hour. This is a controllable DC pump that includes a controller right there, so you can adjust the speed in multiple increments. There's a similar controller for the Octo Regal 250 Super Space Saver protein skimmer. This is a model that I've actually been using for a long time over here for about 180 gallons of water. That thing is an absolute workhorse, and I usually run it at about 60%. So this is going to be making some super thick protein skimmate from the fish system. So those two are going to work together. So these are some products that have been in the market for a long time. If you want to see any reviews of this, go to reefbuilders.com or around the web. These have been around for a while, but this is the brand new one from Octo. So this is a 36-inch sump. It's going to give me an extra foot of space down underneath the stand over there. Water comes in here. It overflows into 2 filter socks. And I really like that we have some nice curved edge lids to quiet down the sound and reduce evaporation and spray. So we're gonna have some filter socks in there. This is a beautiful section right here that perfectly fits the Super Space Saver, and you can see why that is. This is a lot of protein skimmer into a tiny little package, and there's still room in here to work and to observe. So, but if you look over here, this is the constant water level area of the water sump, and there's a kind of a gate section right here, so you can adjust the water level that you want the protein skimmer to run at, so that you're not constantly fiddling with it. Finally, this is the last chamber right here. This is where the pump is going to go. You know, this is kind of like the last area. We'll probably end up putting a float valve. And then this front section right here, this is usually designed for a reservoir for auto top-off. But as you guys know me, I like to use gravity-fed auto top-offs. So we're going to use this as the waste collector. And the way that's going to work is the Super Space Saver protein skimmer comes with a float switch. This float switch is designed to go right here inside the cup. So when your cup gets super full, it's going to shut that pump off, and it plugs directly into one side of the controller. So we're gonna do a little riff on this, and I'm gonna put that auto top off switch on this part right here because it's dry here, and a few gallons is just not gonna last more than a few days in the dry Colorado environment. This is gonna be my skimmate collection. We're not gonna do this on this video, but that is the future use for this. So let me show you what we need to do before we can install all this. So as I mentioned before, this is actually a steel frame stand by ProClear Aquatics. It's one of the few mass market aquariums available today in the aquarium hobby that has this style of stand. But what I need to do, I might have mentioned this earlier, is drain most of the water here till the fish are just about uncomfortable. Then we're gonna pop this out, take the sump out, and put the new sump in. So getting the sump in is gonna be a lot easy. Once the sump is in, the whole setup is gonna go real fast. So let's get started on draining this tank. All right, if you can imagine how much preparation it took to get to this point, even before we started to shoot this entire video. We've got the water down as much as possible. I got some saved in a tank over there, ready for a big water change. The reason I need to drain the water is I don't want all the weight over here. So here's the moment of truth. Hopefully you don't have a blowout. Let's see what we can do with this brace here. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. It's coming out smoothly. That means the metal frame stand is doing its job. And now we can work to get this sump out. Man, the deconstruction that takes sometimes to begin a project can be a little bit overwhelming, but thanks to our metal frame stand, we're able to easily get the door, the supporting beam out, get the old sump out, and now we've got a clean slate, completely new slate to put the brand new Octo 36 sump. So let's go over here and grab it. But since it's 36 inch and we've got a 4-foot window, this is gonna be very easy, and look at that, like a glove, and it just completely shines in there. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, now it's time to put the supporting brace back in, start filling her back up, and fire the system back up and see how it goes.
I don't need promises, honestly, no big deal. As long as you can show me a good time, I don't care. Oh, 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 Dinners and rings and the fanciest things couldn't make me believe in us. I'm here for pleasure, so don't you put pressure pressure on me to give into us. All I need is short-term devotion. I don't wanna be so emotional. Just wanna dance, want a simple romance. Nothing more, nothing less from you. No ties, no price, no need, so free. I don't care what you say, what you do, how you feel. As long as you can show me a good time. I don't need promises, honestly, no big deal. As long as you can show me a good time. I don't care. Oh, 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 oh.
It's been just under a week since I did the deconstruction, reconstruction, taking out the old sump, putting in the brand new Octo 36 sump, and I had no idea how much I would love having all the functions concentrated into a smaller, more uniform sump. It doesn't hurt that the white acrylic really brightens up the sump, but you know, when people get a sump, normally, you know, we really enjoy having a lot of space in the actual sump itself, but in this case, for this application, really enjoying the opposite. The tank is staying very clear thanks to the filter socks. The protein skimmer is broken in and just totally crushing it. So let me show you how the sump is set up from the drain up to the return. So for presentation's sake, I have left the center door on so I could keep a good look at how the new Octo 36-inch sump is performing, you know, especially keeping an eye on that protein skimmer because it's a new install. And give you just a little tour of what's going on here. So right here we have the drain from the tank, centrally mounted drain, goes into this chamber which plunges down there and flows over a couple of 4-inch filter socks. Then we have this dedicated section here for the protein skimmer with the constant water level that can be adjusted right there by users using the gate style valve. And this is the Super Space Saver 250, a little bit of a tongue twister of a name, but there's a lot of room left in here even after putting in such a large protein skimmer. And I have placed my Shago heating element right here, right after the outlet of the skimmer, so there's lots of water flow all around the heater element. And right behind the protein skimmer is one of my Brightwell Export Bio plates for the biological media of this aquarium. It's actually kind of neat to be able to see the air going into the aspirator or Venturi valve, not sure how well you can see that there, into the protein skimmer. And the Octo 250 has been performing quite nicely. We've got a mega air silencer. You guys know how much of a stickler I am for silencing the slurping noise. And this is about a week's worth of waste, mind you, of almost completely new water, because I had to change most of the water to get this going. This is the hole for the automatic float switch that will turn this protein skimmer off should it get full, but we're gonna do something tricky with that. And you can see I haven't done anything special, and it is definitely producing the kind of skimmate, the kind of stable foam that we like to see coming out of our protein skimmers. And this is also despite this entire system, since it's a fish system, I'm actually running it a little bit hyposaline. So after that section right there, I'm gonna go ahead and open this door. We have the final processing of the Octo 36-inch sump. There's the Vario 8 return pump, and then my Senai basic water monitor. And then what I did is I actually cut my Brightwell export bio plate into two just so it'll fit into this section. There's a lot of flow very nicely. And last but not least, this is the chamber, which is typically used for auto top-off reservoir, which we are going to do some tricky stuff with. This is going to be the automatic waste collector. And just to keep everything super nice and neat, I've installed the two controller units for both the protein skimmer and for the pump right here, so they're in very easy reach. And as I mentioned before, one thing I love about the 250 SSS from Octo is I love running it at 60% power, really kind of hit the sweet spot of the pump and the protein skimmer. And if I should require a little bit more protein skimming, I can go ahead and just turn it up with the simple press of a button. And man, doesn't this just look great, you guys? It looks so beautiful with some room on both sides, so I can do some more modifications to this system. It was a little bit nerve-wracking to take out the center brace with a live tank on top of it, but now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, I have a beautiful functioning sump sponsored by Reef Octopus, who also sent along the equipment for this particular build. So I really want to thank them for supporting the upgrade of the filtration system on my saltwater fish tank. But now that that's done, I am really excited for what's going to come next. So we are going to be doing a series of shorter videos, a little bit on the DIY slant, to add some different features and functions to this sump. Some of them are going to be pretty basic, like just kind of drilling the side of the sump for a float valve for a gravity-fed auto top-off, and some of them are going to be a little bit more unconventional and tricky, like turning the auto top-off reservoir into an automatic waste collector. So there's going to be some creative juices flowing. If you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions about this build or your build or what I'm going to be doing here in the future, go ahead and post some questions down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. So in the meantime, thank you for joining me on this video, and I will catch you very soon on the next ones. Later, guys.